don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop.
Lately, I have been noticing more and more photos in my Instagram feed of people who have color pictures using apps, and so I thought I would give a couple a try today and share what I found with you, so hopefully you can find the right app for what you are wanting to do. I'm going to start with my Pingo. It was an app that reached out to me and through my Twitter, and so I thought, well, I'll give it a try. It's a free app with in-app purchases. It looked like it had a bunch of nice books here that you could choose from, but only one was acceptable or accessible from if you were not paid. So then I would try. Oh, nope, I can't do that one. 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 Can I do any of these? That's what it was. I just kept trying and none of them would work. So I did sign in and decided to try again. When I signed in, I would go in, and now I've started clicking and go in. It looks like I've got some, but it's the same book twice. And I would click. Oh. And a crash. It just kept crashing on me. I never got to a picture in this app. As many times as I tried, I would click on different things. I created this account. I did all the little bits and pieces that it told me to do. And still, as soon as I would get a picture, it would crash. I tried it on my iPad. Logged in. Same thing. It was still crashing. You can see it just kept... I think I gave this one enough tries to say it had its chance. So this one gets my lowest marks out of the apps that I reviewed. So since my Pingo was so rough, I decided to trust reviews and just go into the App Store and see which two coloring apps came up the highest rated. So I just typed in adult coloring into the search, and voila, I found two. I found a Color Therapy and Pigment. I decided to download those two onto my iPad and try them out. So since Color Therapy showed up first in the search, I decided to try that one first. I took a little while and did a practice picture. Now you can see the menu here. I'm getting ready to turn it so that you can see it a little bit easier, but I have several books to choose from. This one had a lot of artwork in it, which was great. You could find something. So this is what the piece I did on my own to kind of feel for how the app worked. I liked the colors. It had a lot in there. Again, it's one of those, this was a free app, and you start off with some, but you have to earn more, buy more colors to get a full pack of what you would want. You're not going to be happy with just the base colors for very long. Now, this app had an interesting interface. I'm used to using colored pencils when I color, and this one, as you're getting ready to see, I'm going to work on this flower one right here, and I'm using a little pen stylus, so not using my fingers, so I have a little more control. But it is an ink kind of interface where pretty reminiscent of the old paint programs that used to come on early computers that I played with as a child, where we used to just do scribbles and then we would take the time to just grab and ink in an area. You can't choose to do a streak of color in that. It is the whole area. You choose one color to go in there. Now I'm using a gradient effect. They do have a straight effect and gradients. And I found with the gradients, you can get some interesting looks. Again, you're not going to have control a whole lot over how the gradient fills in. You're at the mercy of the app. And that was frustrating for me, as I wanted to be able to come in and control how the gradient filled in the piece. I wanted to put darker shades here or lighter shades here. And here you go, you see the interface with the basic and the gradient shades. And I couldn't choose to make the petals darker on the inside, lighter on the outside. I could only choose if it's going to radiate vertically or radiate out in a radial pattern from the center of the area. Now, I worked on this one for a while. I'll speed it up here so that you can see what a finished product looks like. So you can see it turns out pretty nice. It's a fun little thing. It's not, again, this isn't difficult coloring in here. It is just a simple, I'm filling in this color here. I'm not going to layer colors on top of each other. This is what it is. So for today, this one I would rank in the middle of the three that I'm going to look at. The next app I'm going to look at is called Pigment, and out of the three I looked at, this one was my favorite. If I had to say any one of these made me think about buying an iPad Pro, this was it. As you can see here, they're showing a little bit of the tutorial, which is right there, that shows you can select an area. You won't color out of the lines, but you are coloring like you are using a pencil or a marker. You are controlling your stroke, you are controlling your color, you can do all the things that I said I wanted to do in the previous app in color therapy. You can do that in this one. Had a lot of artwork. It was easy to tell which ones you had to pay for, which ones you didn't. Since this was a review, I wasn't going to pay for anything on these. I was just doing all the free versions. I found this picture here. I thought it looked like fun. Took a second to download. I'm ready to go. It's got a lot of different bits in this one. I thought that would be good. And again, I'm using my pen, but you can see I've got a slider here so I can pick my color and do fine adjustments. So I can make it darker, I can make it lighter. So doing gradients is a lot of fun with this because you can get in there and lay it in. So it took me a minute to get used to selecting it so it wouldn't color outside the lines. Standard here that you can zoom in so you can see these little bits. But this had, to me, what is part of the therapeutic part of coloring. It is the physical act of putting in the color. You are controlling the exact spots where it is going. You're just not inking, you are laying it in. You are seeing your stroke create. As I would go in, I could lay in more and more. I had to get used to it here. You can see I'm accidentally drawing on the screen rather than moving my picture because I was trying to scroll it. I had to learn the fingers, which is normal for a new app, that you have a little bit of a learning curve while you're figuring it out. But over on the side, you have a choice for your opacity. That's a fun word to try to say 5 times fast, as well as your stroke width. So you can control how sharp your pencil is, or how wide your marker is, or there's Pastel. There's a whole lot of choices here for the different medium that you can choose. So I'm going to speed this bit up and show you some of those different media. The type of stroke that I was using to make it look like different things, all you have to do is click the button up in the corner and they have a bunch of different choices. They have marker, they have brush, they have pastel. They even have different kinds of markers and so it's a lot of fun to play with in here for the different effects that you could go with. I really enjoyed these. So I'm going to try in here. I'm laying in a little bit of the green, seeing if I can blend it a little bit. Then I was like, well, let's go do some sky. I'm deciding where I'm going to go exactly to do these centers. Oh, marked it. I did that quite a bit on these. And I switched my color. You see how simple that was. I can just go in and I can lay in that soft color like that. And because I can choose my area and I don't go outside the line, I don't have to worry about coming back later and erasing. So I'm using right here more of a watercolor. Yeah, I'm using the watercolor here. You can see that it does, if you lift up your pen and come back in, it's like you're adding on a second layer with it. So if you're going for a super even tone with this, you make sure you don't lift up your finger, your stylus, whatever you're using here. Other apps that I've used that I draw with, I like to use Paper by 53, has the same thing with their watercolor. And once you lift it, it's going to start doing layers, which you can create cool effects with, but if you're just trying to keep one solid color, kind of that look, you want to be careful. So now I'm switching over to the pastel here to give the idea of some clouds. I had some fun with this. You can see, it gives those little fluffy clouds, almost cotton candy-ish too. Lots of fun there. I'll speed it up again here. Next, I decided to try to layer some colors in, and this is using the fill tool. They do have if you want a simple fill, you can do that to lay it in. Which, if you just want a solid color, is great. It kind of saves you a little time. But if I was going to use this, it would be just like I use it here. That I'm doing it as a base color that I'm going to do something on top of. So next, I'm going to choose the stub, and I'm going to blend in some other colors with it. And you can see just adding that little bit of color. Zoom it in here so you can see a little better. And it just gives that subtle effect. And get it darker in the middle. I like being in control of my gradient. I don't think I can say that enough in this video. Just your opacity, and then you can really get some cool effects here too for blending out, because as you make it less and less opaque, it's going to get lighter and lighter, just like when you lift your pencil less and less. So lots of fun with this. Speed up again as I'm moving through. So lay in a little more color, go back, adjust a couple things, fill in some back just using the simple fill I've already done. Now I'm going to show you, after what I finished these little bits of touch-ups, going to go in and look at the gradient tool on this. And as you can see, this one has a gradient just like the other one, but you control how the gradient goes. So all that control again that I wished I had, you have. And I'm excited about this. So I decided to try it on these petals, especially to fill in the background. I'm going to pick a nice fun pink. Who doesn't love a pink flower? I'm sure there's somebody, and you'll probably mention it in the comment. But I just love a simple pink flower. If I'm going to guess one, that's what I'm going to guess. And so you can see I can pull it, my dark to light, and I can adjust it as I go around my flower so all of my petals are darker in the middle. Kind of mimics a paintbrush here, getting to pull your paint. I enjoyed this. Now the color in thing sometimes was a little difficult, especially when you had these little areas that didn't touch. And it's not intuitive very well with that, so you do have to go in and say, yeah, I need to go to this one and this one and this one, even though it's the same part of the same petal. I did all the petals. And this is nice and fun and quick, so if you're wanting to do a picture quick, this is a great little effect that you can use. You'll get your shadows and highlights in. You see, I did all those petals. Boom, boom, boom. I would never be able to do it that fast in a coloring book. Some days I wish I could, but it doesn't happen that way. Now this app also has a radial gradient. We just did the linear, and so I'm going to choose the radial gradient. And I'm going to use that on the leaf so that I can create an effect like it's curling a little bit here. So I get my zoom set well where I want it so I can get into those areas. Now to find the green. It's always fun when you're still learning where things are on an app. That is definitely not green. And there we go, got my green. And it took me a couple of tries to kind of get the feel of this. So the first one I didn't get the gradient going in the right direction. Then as I went, I got it figured out a little bit more, and I was like, okay, now we got it. But it's neat that you can take your time in this and create the dimensions that you're looking for, and so it's not a 2D piece so much. Well, it's always going to be two-dimensional because it's a 2D, but you can create the illusion of a third dimension in your gradients with this. So I made it up to the top. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here, and I'll show you how you can get that in. You'll see it looks really cool. I pull and pull, and we get that. See that center piece right there. So that's going to be what's highlighted. It only took a couple of tries to get this in. This was my first piece that I did on this app, so I think it turned out pretty well for learning how it works. So this is Pigment, but I really liked this app. I didn't end up finishing this picture because it wasn't completely the style that I like to do, so it just had a bunch of different elements that I liked, so I thought would show well for the app. Here is a picture that I did spend a little more time on, still have yet to go back and finish it, but can show you what you can do with your pencils in there and getting some cool gradients in, and I was able to create that illusion of it being rounded just by using pencils on my iPad. So if you have liked this video, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. I try to do these videos as much as I can, and also you can follow me on Instagram or Twitter. I post pretty regularly photos of all the different adventures I am on. If you have any apps that you really like and would like to see reviewed, please leave me a comment letting me know about those apps because I would love to check them out. And as always, remember, art happens in everyday life. Make sure you're watching for it. Bye.
Don't stop.